is the worst betrayal of the self. And that is a deadly energy. When you start to see the heaviness in the spiritual path, this is why God blesses those who are healers. It causes every single freaking problem in our life, which is contradicting to what most of us were taught. I don't know how to describe it other than it's a fire that doesn't hurt you. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to another makeup get ready with me. I posted a poll on Instagram having you guys give me all your burning questions about all things mystical, magical, energy work, personal development, whatever floats your boat. I was going to answer it, and I got a wide spectrum of energy. So let's dive in while I do my makeup. First question, what is Holy Fire Reiki? So I will actually link a video in the description below, but Holy Fire Reiki is another form of Reiki, essentially. If you're not familiar with Reiki, it's a Japanese healing technique in which a practitioner transfers energy from their body to a client or to, like, you know, somebody else. So essentially it's just an energy healing. If you're not familiar with energy work or energy healing, you should probably watch a few other videos of mine. It's just raising the vibration in the body to get back into alignment, to heal body, mind, spirit. The difference between Reiki Holy Fire and just your traditional Usui Reiki is that Reiki Holy Fire taps into a higher level of conscious expansion and therefore frequency. Because it has a higher level of conscious expansion, you'll realize that those two are almost one and the same. They have to go hand in hand. The more you expand your consciousness, the more you know, the more you will raise your vibration, because higher vibration comes with a higher frame of thinking. It's not religion, but it incorporates the ascended masters, essentially, in the realm of the formless is what they call it. So you can think of like a Mother Teresa, Jesus, Buddha. Those energies are what he calls, William Rand calls, the ascended masters, and it kind of incorporates that holy, like very high vibe feeling into the session itself. And then of course Holy Fire, if you're familiar with biblical text, it's like the burning bush, the fire, stuff like that. That's the type of energy that it feels like, and that is exactly what the high vibe energy feels like. When you tap into that amount of love, guys, that love feels like it lights your body on fire. It literally feels like a cool, burning, warm, I don't know how to describe it other than it's a fire that doesn't hurt you. It feels like bliss, ecstasy. I can't describe it. I freaking can't describe it. Check out the video below. I go all into it. It's just a higher expansion of Reiki. How to make time for yourself and some self-care tips and remedies to do. Self-care. I just made a whole video over that, and I'm actually doing another vlog over self-care because it is like fall in love with yourself season. First thing to understand is, what does self-care look like for you? Why do you feel the need to do self-care? And not to say like you have to have a reason to do self-care. You should always be putting yourself first, honestly, because selfishness is actually self-care, which is contradicting to what most of us were taught, because most of us were taught to be selfless, which honestly, being selfless is what causes all the problems. You'll come to find that out is when we don't put the self first and show our self-love, it causes every single freaking problem in our life, and let alone our society. The absence of love, the absence of putting the self first, giving you what you need, and that's gonna look different for everybody depending upon what you're going through in your life. What season are you in? Honestly, like if we're gonna dive really deep into it and the psychological aspect of it, self-love is taking responsibility for your life and giving you what you need. Let me repeat that again. Self-love is being responsible to provide what you need in your life. What do you need right now? What are you going through that is stressing you out, that you need to give yourself, that you need to relieve some form of stress, that you need to fix or you need to do for yourself in your life? Like if you're putting something off, if you want to do a creative project, you know, things like that. What do you need, right? And only you can give you those things. Because when you rely on other things, people, to do it for you, one, you're putting the power outside of yourself. Two, you're being the victim because you're telling yourself essentially you don't have the power to do it when you do, because everything is figure outable. And three, you're not taking responsibility and owning your shit, right? When we have expectations for other people to give us what we need, it creates a shit ton of problems. Most of the time, people will not live up to our expectations. And then that creates a shit ton of problems in relationships. Expectations are the #1 killer to relationships. So essentially that is my best tip and advice for self-care. That's probably not what you were expecting or what you wanted to hear. But if we're gonna talk more on a human 3D level of consciousness, what kind of actions can you take to show yourself self-care? So like right now, I'm doing my makeup. That to me is self-care. Doing my makeup and making myself feel good, feel a certain way is self-care for me. Might not be for some of you out there. Maybe self-care for you is not doing makeup, right? Maybe you feel like you have to dress up all the time and that you always have to put on makeup, and maybe you want to give your skin a break. So self-care for you might be like cleansing your skin, doing a face mask, right? I'm about to go do a Reiki circle and a sound bath for people. That for me is self-care, right? Because I'm doing something that I love and I'm giving love to other people. So guess what? When I do an action and I'm creating the feeling of love through an action, I'm being a channel for love, I'm getting that back to me, right? I'm taking an action and I'm feeling the reciprocation of it back. That means you are in alignment with your soul. I'm not giving out of obligation. I'm giving because I want to genuinely give. My soul wants to come through and do this action, right? So therefore, I automatically get the healing energy from it, even though I'm not the one that I'm giving this sound bath Reiki to. I'm still gonna receive the blessings. This is why God blesses those who are healers. Not necessarily do you have to do energy work or, Reiki or sound baths to heal people, but when you show somebody love, you are showing yourself love. When you're feeling that energy, you are the channel for it. So your body is going to receive that energy and heal itself. How it works. Start thinking of actions that can make you feel better. Feel the love. Right? So what does that look like for you? Like today, it's a gloomy day. Guess what I'm gonna do when I get home? I'm gonna bake my ass off, because you know why? It's a perfect day for it. It makes me feel good. That gets me in my element, and I'm gonna turn on some Celine Dion and bake some pumpkin spice shit, because that makes me happy. I'm also gonna go hit the gym, even though I don't really feel like it. I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna feel freaking fantastic afterwards. And then I'm gonna go home decor shopping because that makes me happy too. You have to determine what self-care looks like for you. Speaking of, I'll link the vlog down below of what I'm making today, because I'm gonna take you guys along with me for all of my self-care fun shenanigans that I'm doing today to give you ideas. Ooh, this one's kind of a good one, but a contradiction almost. When evolving to a higher level of consciousness, how heavy could it become with others? Okay, so this is a little bit of a contradiction, but I understand, I think, of where you're coming from. You'll hear this a lot whenever spiritual people expand their consciousness. They say that they feel very alone, because the more that you know and the more that you heal yourself, or the more that you expand your consciousness, the less you're able to relate to other people, or to more of the human groundedness. So this is where like a lot of people fall out of your life. You become, not the same vibration anymore, what your friends used to be, things like that. So that's where I think you're talking about the heaviness that can come along with expanding your consciousness and just embarking more on a spiritual path. This is a little bit of a contradiction, because the higher you go, the less that you will see it heavy, if that makes sense. When you start to see the heaviness in the spiritual path, which is just your life, right? There's not really a spiritual, it's your lifestyle, right? You're choosing this path, right? But you saying that it's heavy and that it's lonely up top and that, like, you know, you don't relate to people and blah, 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 that will be your reality, right? It doesn't have to be like that, because honestly, the higher that you go up, guys, the more wisdom comes with raising your vibration, right? So there is no heaviness. So when you come across people who are not of that same vibration, because you will, what you want to happen is you want to bring people up to your vibration. You don't want to level down, right? You don't want to come down to that level of vibration to match that person. You want to bring them up to your level, right? If you truly are a heart-centered spiritual person, and this is not from ego, right? Because when we're truly heart-centered and we're in our truth and our authenticity, you will not see the heaviness, or nor will you see the other person as a lower level vibration. You will just see them in their authentic nature and their truth, right? You will just see them as a person, but you're filtering them through your perception of love. So no matter what is going on, and this is where everyone's goal is to try to be an ascended master, you will see love in the situation and understand everybody has a divine journey, that they are being guided to the highest road possible by spirit, right? And only they know, and only spirit knows what that journey looks like and what that person needs in the moment. It is not up to you to judge. You're only judging yourself. It is only up to you to show love and hold space for somebody. And that's not to say to allow them to treat you a certain way or to put up with shit from people. You draw boundaries out of self-love, but you do it in a way that is authentic to you, right? That's the goal, at least. Sometimes authenticity can be fiery. What does my spiritual teacher say? We just literally had a client yesterday. Oh God, I need to make a new video, a whole video off of this. This was great. My spiritual teacher goes, sometimes grace can be fiery, and it can be fiery. Sometimes you need that power, that fire, that passion to actually complete something, to actually step into your power, to hold a boundary, to show yourself love, because that power, that fire, that grace that's fiery is better than allowing somebody to walk all over you and have betrayal of the self, betrayal of the soul. When we don't stand in our power and our grace and our authentic nature, and we're just allowing somebody to walk all over us, that is betrayal of the self. And when you do something that's not in alignment with you, and you're just like, all like, oh, I guess I'll do this even though I don't want to. When you do shit out of obligation to make other people happy, but you don't want to do it and it's not in alignment with you, that is the worst betrayal of the self. And that is a deadly energy, okay? Sorry guys, I'm like rushing here because I have to go to the Reiki Holy Fire Circle in like 15 minutes. So next one, why is every female called to be a high priestess now? Oh my gosh, why is everybody spiritual now? Well, there's several reasons for this, but I think honestly guys, I think women or females are starting to understand their power now, and they're starting to understand the divine feminine energy when it's been suppressed for so long. And we have an abundance of information out there with social media, with the internet, that, you know, wasn't necessarily there before, because technology has made this information so widespread that it's easily accessible. So when people are now being informed and learning about, you know, the divine feminine and how to tap into, you know, their feminine nature and their true power, like, holy shit, like, it is a spiritual awakening. And when you experience that, and when women are taking back their power essentially and healing their lives, naturally that's what they're gonna want to do for others, right? What helps us in our life, what our pain is, it becomes our power, and that's our story, essentially. Our hero's journey in our life is what you really want to call it, and that's a psychological side of it. But every human has like this storyline going on in their head of like a movie, and you are the main character, and you're supposed to solve your problems essentially. And when you solve your problems, then you help others do the same. So that's why when you have like women being called forward to be divine priestesses, they've done that to heal their own life. So therefore, they're being a channel for other people to do the same. Okay, how to deal with a toxic masculine energy. Okay, so how to deal with the wounded masculine. So if we want to say toxic, that's up to the perception on what you deem as toxic. There could be several different ways to deal with it, but essentially what has happened, if you're deeming a masculine wounded and you're a female, what has happened is you have stepped more into your masculine energy because the male that you are with or partnered with in your life, or the male that you are around, is not masculine enough to make you feel safe. So you don't feel safe enough to step into your feminine energy, and you are going to be like flowing between the masculine and feminine, because essentially, guys, we all have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. The female needs to hold more of that feminine energy because biologically her body is built to produce life. That is the feminine energy, is creation, right? It's birthing life into existence, and you need a certain amount of that energy, the hormones, the bodily functions, for it to function properly, because when you are too much in the masculine, that's when the hormones get all off. That is when you don't feel safe. That's when you feel overstressed. That's when you get tired, and then you're signaling to your body that life is not sustainable. Your body is not able to carry it, right? So you want to be more in your feminine energy. So when you are around a masculine, that doesn't make you feel safe. You are going to see him as toxic. You are going to see him as a wounded masculine energy. Now, it's not to say that he is always like that, because if you have a different female come in and she's not the same energy as you, might not have the same triggers or something of that nature, she might find him more masculine because she is more in her feminine. And it could be too of you just don't know how to relax into your feminine. But in order to relax into your feminine, you cannot rely on the masculine to give you what you need if the masculine is toxic in your life. So this is where lessons come in for people in relationships, is when the male is not stepping up and providing what the female needs in order to feel safe. The female is going to actually feel called to make that energy for herself. She's going to feel called to actually give herself what she needs in order to feel safe, or she's going to go find another partner to give that to her, right? So you can do one or the other, but essentially the best thing for you to do and to help you develop more as a person is to give you what you need in order to feel safe, because essentially you have everything that you need. This is a long story short type of thing. This deserves a whole video in itself, because I just did a coaching session yesterday with a client over this exact same thing. Essentially, in order to overcome this, you're going to need the masculine to work on themselves and you work on yourself, and then figure out where you can meet in the middle, or how to give each other what you need, or what you can and cannot tolerate in a relationship, right? You actually need to become clear on how this person is making you feel unsafe, and then defining what it is you need to feel safe, and then communicating that to your person or to the male or whatever like that. Because if you don't communicate it, then they're not gonna know. Honestly, when the masculine sees the female step into more of her masculine energy, he's gonna see her as this cold-hearted bitch, essentially. And she's truly not. She is just more in her masculine than he is, right? So it's not a natural dynamic of what nature intended the male and female role to be. When the female can understand how to make herself feel safe and give her what she needs, you ultimately become very, very self-efficient, because you carry naturally the divine feminine, which is a manifesting goddess, to create life, not just birthing human lives, but essentially anything that you would like or desire in your life. And when you can understand how to balance the masculine and the feminine and navigate life through that way, you become unfuckable. Anyway, I am running out of time, guys. I have got to go to my Reiki circle. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna do another vlog today, so if you want to join me later, I will link it down below, and we'll go have a fun time today doing all things self-care. So Oh, if you like my channel, my content, guys, hit the like button, share this stuff. Like, you guys have told me how great my videos are and that I deserve more followers, and I really appreciate it. So you sharing, you liking really helps me reach people that need this information and that it can change their life, because this information has changed my life, obviously. So sending you all my light and all my love. Sat Nam.